Welcome to Venezuela, the land of revolutions, of oil, and of some of the wildest television on earth. In this video, we're diving into Venezuelan TV to find out what people here actually watch. From over-the-top variety shows and chaotic comedy sketches to full-blown political broadcasts, including Hugo Chávez's legendary 6-hour speeches that were aired uninterrupted nationwide. This is a story of entertainment, of propaganda, and of pure spectacle, where television didn't just reflect Venezuelan life, it helped shape it. So grab your remote, get comfortable, and let's tune in to the fascinating, unpredictable world of Venezuelan TV.
¡Viva Venezuela!
So first, a brief history on Venezuela. Now, Venezuela's history can pretty much be summed up in 4 words: revolution, oil, and political instability. It all began in 1811 when Venezuela became one of the first South American countries to declare its independence from Spain, led by Simón Bolívar. After independence came decades of instability, constantly shifting between dictatorships and fragile democracies. But oil changed everything. In the 1920s, massive oil discoveries made Venezuela one of the world's richest nations, and politics revolved around who controlled that wealth. In 1958, democracy was restored after the fall of dictator Marcos Jiménez. For decades, 2 major parties shared power. Then came Hugo Chávez in 1998. His socialist government reshaped the country, expanding social programs but also concentrating power. After his death in 2013, Nicolás Maduro took over, leading to deep political and economic crisis, mass protests, and international disputes over legitimacy. Today, Venezuela is staying true to its history. Maduro is acting more and more like a dictator each day and is battling to control growing anger against his leadership. Maybe the next revolution is just around the corner. Now, TV in Venezuela began all the way back in 1952, when Televisora Nacional made its first broadcast. At first, programming was limited, mostly news, cultural shows, and live music in black and white, which we'll take a look at in this video. By the 1960s, private networks like Radio Caracas Televisión and Venevisión took off. In the 1980s and 90s, Venezuela became known internationally for its TV productions, and many of the shows it produced, which we'll look at in this video, reached audiences across Latin America and even Europe. The 2000s brought major changes, and in 2007, Hugo Chávez shut down one of the country's main TV channels, marking a turning point in Venezuelan media history. Today, Venezuelan television continues both on traditional channels and online platforms, a mix of nostalgia, creativity, and resilience that pretty much reflects the nation's story itself. So, from humble black and white beginnings to global Latin American dominance, if you're ready, sit down, get comfortable, as we tune in to Venezuelan TV. I love that little tiger. Okay, how cool are these early idents for Venevisión?
Televisión.
Primer circuito nacional.
So, the first TV broadcast began in 1952 during the dictatorship of Jiménez. Now, programming included live music, theatre, cultural shows, and news broadcasts. But news was tightly controlled. Government-approved anchors read out the official bulletins, and censorship ensured that only positive stories about the regime made it to air. However, in the 1960s, private networks like RCTV and Venevisión launched, bringing variety shows, comedies, and dramas that became household favourites. And one of the main news shows was this one. This is La Noticias Venevisión, translated as Venevisión News.
Un minuto con el informador. La represa El Guamo en el estado Monagas, cuya construcción está prevista para...
So Venevision News is one of the most watched and trusted sources of information in Venezuela. However, although Venevision is a private channel, its news operation has often navigated a delicate balance between independence and caution. During Venezuela's democratic era, the clips you're watching here, Venevision Noticias maintained a moderate editorial tone, largely independent, yet careful not to challenge the country's political or economic elites too directly. However, when Hugo Chavez came to power, Venevision shifted to a more neutral and at times government-friendly stance. Take a look at some other clips from the 1980s, and you're about to see some awesome wardrobe choices.
A pesar de las reuniones de acercamiento,
gran importancia en la historia polaca.
Venezuela vivió horas de intenso júbilo y emoción en Irlanda.
She's off to the Oscars after this. So in the 1960s and 70s, variety shows were massively popular, and this was the biggest of them all. This is Sábado Sensacional, translated as Saturday Sensational, and this is one of the longest running and most beloved TV programs in Venezuela. First broadcast in 1972 on Venevision, the show quickly became a Saturday tradition for millions of Venezuelan families. It was a grand variety show filled with music, comedy, contests and live performances. And just listen to how brilliantly enthusiastic this audience is. I love this.
Ese bello país de Sudamérica, Los Ángeles Negros.
So compared to British TV at the time, this is so fascinating to watch. If you watch any old clips from Britain in the 1970s, the audience are very reserved, usually very middle-aged and quite boring. But I just absolutely love how enthusiastic this Venezuelan audience is. So I think this guy is Efra Fernandez, a 1970s disco star in Latin America, but I'm not entirely sure, so let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's move on to another broadcast before the audience go into cardiac arrest. To be fair, he is really good, isn't he? Here's a clip from 1972, now in colour no less, and I should say that this guy is Amador Bendayan, who was one of the most popular presenters in Venezuela. Bring it home. Now, Sábado Sensacional used to air for up to 4 hours every Saturday and was basically just a massive party that everyone in Venezuela could take part in. And the show still airs today. Here, have some weird 80s dancing before we move on. I absolutely love Sábado Sensacional. There's hardly any episodes of it available in the archives, but those that are available are just brilliant fun. I kind of want to be in Venezuela in the 70s and 80s so that I can join this party. Now, because Venezuela quickly expanded into having private TV channels such as Venevision and Radio Caracas Television, they were also one of the first countries in the world to air commercials. Take a look at some of these.
Usted podría lavar de la ropa con un producto o lavaloso. Pero él usa ropa buena. Ropa que necesita el cuidado de Fab Blanco. Fab Blanco.
Don't you just love the 60s? Somebody buy me some Fab. So, incredibly, we've got 10 minutes into this video without even touching on what is, without any shadow of a doubt, the most popular form of entertainment in Venezuela, and what Venezuelan television is best known for. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our telenovelas.
Fab Blanco deja su ropa blanca.
So, telenovelas, or soap operas as they're known in some parts of the world, have been a prominent feature of Venezuelan TV right from the very beginning. During the 50s, 60s and 70s, Venezuela produced literally hundreds of these shows, like the one you're watching now. This is Cristal, and this is one of the most iconic Venezuelan telenovelas of the 1980s. Produced by Radio Caracas Television, it first aired in 1985 and quickly became a massive success both domestically and internationally. Now, I'm going to try and sum up the story for you, so pay attention at the back. Cristal is a humble orphan who begins working as a secretary at a prestigious fashion house owned by Victoria. Unbeknown to Cristal, Cristal is actually Victoria's long-lost daughter, who was taken from her at birth. As Cristal rises to fame and becomes a famous model, she falls in love with Victoria's son, who is in fact her brother. Right then. This show was massive and it was exported to over 20 countries. In Spain in particular, it became a cultural phenomenon, with streets being empty at airtime and media outlets across the country dedicating extensive coverage to the show's many plot twists. And here's the famous scene in which Cristal finds out that Victoria is her mother and confronts her. Tissues at the ready, everyone.
Hubiera luchado contra la miseria, hubiera luchado contra el hambre, contra el frío, contra las ratas mismas, hubiera luchado contra él, pero a mi lado, la niña conmigo, abrazándola, queriéndola porque era mi hija. Dios mío. Ver derrumbada mi soberbia.
Don't you just love how dramatic it all is? So I'm hoping YouTube is auto-translating this for you, but Victoria is about to get on her knees and beg Cristal for forgiveness.
Perdóname, hija. Perdóname. No, no haga esto, no lo haga.
Telenovelas became a complete industry across Latin America, and many Latin American countries bought and broadcast telenovelas from all across the continent. I'm told that this Mexican production, called La Fiera, translated as The Beast, was very popular, and she's about to find out that he's been having an affair. Go on, Gail, give him some. Ouch, I felt that one. Okay, we must move on from telenovelas now, so let's move on to Venezuelan comedy. So imagine this, you've got an amazing idea for an app. Maybe it's a recipe finder, maybe it's a new social platform, or maybe it's a brand new startup tool. But there's just one problem, you're like me and you've got no idea how to code. Well, that used to be a deal breaker. But not anymore. This video is sponsored by Emergent, the world's first agentic AI coding platform that turns your idea into a real launch-ready app without any coding, just by talking to AI. No, really, you literally tell the AI what you want and Emergent will build everything. The design, backend, database, payments, the full app. No coding, no templates, just your idea. Built by AI in minutes. And it's not just me saying this. Over 1 million builders are already using Emergent. They hit $15 million ARR in just 3 months. And they've built more than 1.5 million apps worldwide. In fact, it's no surprise that this startup is officially one of the top 50 AI companies in the world. Take a look at this. Say you want to build a new recipe app where users can take a snap of their fridge and the app will give them a complete recipe from start to finish. All you do is tell Emergent what you want the app to do and it actually builds the app for you. Emergent's AI agents work together like a full development team, designing your interface, writing clean code, testing, and even debugging it in real time. It has built-in hosting, authentication, and payments, so that your app is production ready from day one. And for creators who love control, you control 100% of the data and of the code. There's no lock-ins and no limit. Emergent just built a fully working app with a login system and even a shareable link. And yeah, I did none of the coding. This is wild. If you think that AI is just ChatGPT, then you are mistaken. The future of software isn't just with coders anymore. It's with dreamers who build with AI. If you can dream it, you can build it today. Go to emergent.sh and start chatting your idea into reality. I cannot wait to see what you build. And now, back to the video. So this is Radio Rochella, and this is without doubt one of the most beloved and enduring TV programs in Venezuelan history. This comic institution ran for over 5 decades, shaping the country's sense of humour and popular culture. Produced by Radio Caracas Television, it first aired in 1959 and continued all the way up until 2010, when Hugo Chavez revoked Radio Caracas' broadcasting licence. We'll get onto that. So, it's a sketch show which features a rotating ensemble of comedians, writers and impersonators. It's basically the Latin American version of Saturday Night Live.
No hay policía que me detenga.
¿Con qué vas a pasar, verdad?
Un poquito para atrás, por favor. Un poquito para atrás, por favor.
El guanero ese que me estás trayendo en la mente. ¿Oíste? Me tienes obstinada, loca, el león lo que acá. Eres una loca.
So each episode featured a series of comedic sketches that reflected Venezuela's current events and social quirks. As you can tell, the humour is pretty slapstick, but it also contains sophisticated political parody. And Radio Rochella was unique because of its fearless political humour. At a time when other programmes avoided direct political commentary, Radio Rochella openly satirised politicians, bureaucrats and corruptions. Its sketches about elections, presidents and government efficiency became part of Venezuelan folklore. Even during periods of censorship or political tension, the show managed to use humour as a form of resistance and social commentary, balancing entertainment with critique. And it's all very, very loud. In almost every sketch I watch, it's just basically people, well, shouting at each other.
Imbécil, ¿en qué país viven ustedes?
Unfortunately, Radio Rochella's long reign was due to come to an end, because in 2007, President Hugo Chávez refused to renew the broadcasting licence of Radio Caracas Television. He accused the station of supporting the 2002 coup attempt against him and of promoting destabilisation. In reality, the move was widely seen as political retaliation against RCTV's critical coverage of his government. And like that, after almost 50 years on air, RCTV, its telenovelas and Radio Rochella simply vanished from the airwaves. But, as you'll see later on in this video, things will get a lot worse.
Estoy llorando por eso.
Dime, papá, ¿qué pasa aquí?
Okay, so this show is called Surima y su Papa, translated as Surima and her dad, and this was a beloved Venezuelan children's TV show that aired during the 1980s on Radio Caracas Television. The show stars Surima alongside her real-life dad, Napoleon Bravo. So this show focused on education, family values and curiosity about the world, and it was all presented in a warm conversational tone. Each episode would feature Surima on screen at the moment and her dad talking about normal everyday topics such as school, friendship, nature, etc. So what made this show quite different and stand out was that it was a genuine, affectionate father and daughter dynamic on screen. It therefore has this real authenticity, and it deeply resonated with viewers across Venezuela. Look, maybe I'm really cynical, but in my mind, I just find this a bit weird. But hey, that's probably just me. What was also unique about this show is that it was very wholesome, calm, and gentle, which cannot be said for the rest of Venezuelan kids' TV. Take a look at this. This is El Club de los Tigritos, translated as the Little Tigers Club. And let's just say, this show is quite loud. But how cool are these opening titles? I'm getting major Saved by the Bell vibes. The Little Tigers Club is one of the most iconic kid shows of all time. It began in the 1990s and it features music, dance, contest sketches and dubbed anime segments. And it's all very big and loud. Goodness, I'll have what she's drinking. I have to say, the energy on Venezuelan TV is honestly unmatched by anything I've ever seen before. And they're off again. Personally, I think I need to go and lie down in a dark room for a bit. But as you can see, this show is just great fun. It's massively colourful, it's loud, it's big, and I can completely see why kids across Venezuela would want to be part of the Little Tigers Club, because I kind of want to join in too. Another popular kids show was this one. This is Supercropolis, and in similar vein to the Little Tiger Club, it's a variety show all for kids. Supercropolis has actually been stuck in my head for the past week while making this video. Again, this show was hugely popular in the 90s, and kids across Venezuela would rush home to turn this on and then no doubt annoy their parents by screaming, dancing and shouting at the TV. Anyway, let's take a look now at some Venezuelan quiz shows, and this first one is La Feria de la Alegría, translated as the Fair of Joy. So this game show was big in the 70s and 80s, and basically contestants would come on and have to complete various tasks against each other, in this example, climbing a big pole. We could be here a while, lads. Honestly, how hard can it be? Well, she nailed that, didn't she? So she didn't win anything, but she does get to take home this rather cool little goodie bag with her. So as you can see, this show was basically just light-hearted family fun, and for 20 years was one of the most popular game shows in Venezuela. Here's another one. This is Cuánto vale el show, which translates to how much is the show worth? And this was a hugely popular talent competition show that first aired in the 1980s. It was created and hosted by this guy, Guillermo Gonzalez, who for some reason has come dressed as Kim Jong-un. So in each episode, acts would come on and perform to a panel of judges who would then decide how much the show was worth, i.e. how good the act was and therefore what cash or prizes they should get. Yeah, so I don't think this act is worth that much. Once all of the acts have performed, they go over to the judges, which bizarrely includes what I think is probably the worst Michael Jackson impersonator I've ever seen.
Beautiful girl, I love your voice. It's nice. I'm sorry.
Trata de hablar español.
Okay, I'm
sí,
sorry.
porque si no el público.
And the judges then decide how much money to give each act. This show was hugely popular across Venezuela, and in fact it became a launchpad for many Venezuelan entertainers and remains one of the country's most beloved variety programs in recent years. See, I wasn't joking when I said TV in Venezuela is loud, was I? Honestly, is anybody in Venezuela introverted? So this show is Aprieta y Gana, translated as Press and Win, and it's hosted by Camilla and Winston. Winston on the right there will do anything to show off his gym gains.
Bueno, así es, a jugar, amigo mío. Bienvenido, Pretigana, preciosa.
So, in the show, which apparently involves everybody taking as many clothes off as possible, a team of boys and girls compete against each other in a series of fun challenges to see who can win the most points at the end of the show.
Y por los padrinos, nuestra estrella que nos acompaña, Melvin. Melvin.
¿Qué tanto habla?
So, as an example, in this particular challenge, Winston has found the opportunity to take his shirt off. To be fair, I would if I looked like that and didn't look so much like a blancmange. And he's going to get into some kind of bubble bath with the contestant and try to wrestle with her. I don't know what's going on here, and I can only show you a little amount because I don't want my channel to get a strike. So this show is just absolutely wild. It is so loud, everybody on it is so confident and just wants to take their clothes off all the time, and, well, I just have no idea what's going on.
Arturo, él está haciendo trampa. Giancarlo, le está haciendo trampa. Todos hacen trampa. Todos están haciendo trampa. Todos.
This show was broadcast on Saturday nights in Venezuela and was very, very popular, you'll be shocked to hear. But now we're going to move on and end with what is perhaps the most infamous Venezuelan TV show of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alo Presidente.
Bueno, aquí estamos. Muy buenos días a toda Venezuela. Aquí estamos en Alo Presidente programa.
So, Alo Presidente started in 1999 and was broadcast all the way up until the end of Hugo Chavez. The show was conceived as direct communication between President Chavez and the Venezuelan people. It was basically a mix of political announcements, public dialogue, social program launches, and unscripted conversations with citizens. The incredible thing about this show is each episode would last between 4 and 6 hours long, sometimes even longer, and was broadcast live from different parts of Venezuela, from factories, schools, farms, housing projects. Chavez would speak to ministers, interview ordinary citizens, and make spontaneous policy decisions on the spot. He would also sometimes sing and read poetry and engage in lengthy ideological discussions about socialism and anti-imperialism. You can see some of the episodes of Alo Presidente on YouTube, and they are, quite frankly, incredible. The longest one I saw was Hugo Chavez speaking for 7 hours straight, broadcast live on television. And, shall we, let's take a look at him singing in one episode of Hola Presidente.
Tú quien lo decida, cuando la gana a mí me dé, tú volverás cuando yo diga, porque aunque trates de olvidar, nunca podrás porque tu vida la tengo toda en mi poder, y si no has vuelto es porque yo no he querido todavía.
I mean, to be fair, he's not awful, is he? So, for his supporters, Hola Presidente was a symbol of democracy, a charismatic leader speaking directly to his people. For critics, though, it was simply a propaganda tool that blurred the line between governance and entertainment, and that further consolidated Chávez's powerful control over public discourse. The show basically embodied the cult of personality that characterized his presidency. It was part political speech, part talk show, part singing, part national event. And it could only exist in Venezuela. But remember, while it might be funny to watch this back, this is the man who publicly shut down the channel that was criticizing him. Whether you like it or not, you are watching somebody who increasingly became a dictator throughout his rule. And this television show is perhaps the best embodiment of that. So, I hope you enjoyed this journey through Venezuelan television. One of the things I love most about doing this series is discovering how every country's TV is completely unique. It's like a reflection of the nation itself. What really stood out about Venezuelan television is just how loud, vibrant and full of life it is. Bright colours, larger than life comedians, over the top telenovelas. The sheer energy and enthusiasm are unlike anything I've seen anywhere else. I genuinely had a blast watching so many of these shows. But behind all the noise and colour, there's a deeper story. The story of a nation that's moved from democracy to dictatorship and back again, time and time over. And that story is written all over its television. From Hugo Chavez shutting down RCTV, to news programmes that dare not to be too critical, to 5-hour Hola Presidente marathons. The political turbulence of Venezuela is right there, on its TV screens. And I guess that is what makes Venezuelan television so fascinating. It's not just entertainment, it's a mirror of a country's soul. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also become a channel member to help support the channel. We'll see you next time.